Hello everyone and welcome back to another Python video. In this video we're going to be talking about keyword arguments and positional arguments. So keyword arguments are arguments preceded by an identifier when we pass them to a function. The order of the arguments does not matter, unlike positional arguments. So with positional arguments, the order matters. It's in the name, positional. And with keyword arguments, it doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter because we use an identifier. So Python knows the name of the argument that our function receives. And here we have two examples that will hopefully help you understand keyword and positional arguments a little better. So the first example is about using positional arguments with the help of a function, of course. So we have a function def, which stands for define hello, and within the hello function we will pass in a few parameters, so fname and lname, and just for the sake of it, let's also use mname, and of course we need to add a colon and then indent and print hello. Wait, sorry. Fname, mname, and lname. So these are the parameters, and this is the block of code that will execute when we call this function. And as you can see, I used commas here because if you don't use commas, you're gonna have to use two pluses, and then within the plus you're gonna have to add a space, and that's just too much of a hassle. So when you use a comma, it just automatically adds a space after whatever it is. So after fname, there's going to be a space, mname, there's going to be a space. So that's why commas in Python are very helpful. But moving on, then we call the function, and to call it, we're using positional arguments, which is a lot easier to think of it, but keyword arguments are a lot more organized and there's a lot less room for error. So you call the hello function, and then you have three parameters, so we need to pass in three arguments. So for the first one, for the first name, fname, we add Yusuf, and then say this is my middle name initial, and then this is my last name. So let's run it, and hello Yusuf A Alhamid. So it works. And if you change the order around, so say you add this at the end and you run it, it's going to be different. It's going to be incorrect. So let's keep it that way. Let's keep it the correct way. So this is positional arguments. For the next example, we have an example for keyword arguments. So it's basically the same thing. So I'll just copy paste it just for simplicity and time. So it's the same thing, but let's first of all change the name of the function so we don't get errors. And we have fname, mname, lname, and then we have the hello code that will, the executable code. If after we call this function, this is what's going to execute, but the real difference is over here. This is how you use keyword arguments. So this is fname. If we're using positional arguments, this is how it would be, exactly like this. But since we're using keyword arguments, since this is the fname, we take this, copy, paste it, fname equals to Yusuf, and then for the mname we do the same thing, mname equals that, lname equals that, and then you run it and you get the same exact thing because we're using keywords. If you want, you can also use a different order here. It doesn't matter. Like I said, there's a lot less room for error. So as you can see here, mname is first, then fname, then lname, and you run it and it's still the same thing. Even here if you change these around and you run it, it's still going to be the same thing. If you want it to be a different order, then you change it from here. So if you change fname to over here and you run it, now it's weird. Now the middle name is in the middle, in the beginning, and the first name is in the middle, as you can see right here, and the last name is, with that didn't change, so it's fine. So yeah, that's it for this lesson today. I hope you enjoyed this video or learned something new. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more Python and computer science content.